Good evening. I'd like to welcome you to Milner Library. It's nice to see a lot of familiar faces. I've been to Adam's events and some new faces tonight. Before we begin, I'm Tony Tucker. I work here at Milner Library, and I was a co-author of the grant that brought the exhibit, and Vanette Schwartz, our history librarian, and Priscilla Matthews in the back. We pulled this together, the three of us, and this is our last event at Milner related to the exhibit. So I want to thank my cohorts in crime here to bring this exhibit to you. I'd also like to thank the Friends of Milner Library, and we happen to have the president of the Friends here tonight, Sheila Irwin. And we have some other friends here. We have Dee Bowley, for helping us support this exhibit by funding our speakers to come to these events. I would also like to thank our partners, Illinois Wesleyan, who, if some of you were there last Tuesday night to hear Dr. Michael Weiss, which was a very lively event in Normal Public Library, the Twin City Tailspinners who are here tonight. If you just said, oh, I wish I could see that again, you can on Saturday at 2 at the Normal Public Library. And on the 15th of October, you can go to Bloomington Public Library at 2, and there will be a program. No, it's in the evening. It's at 7. There'll be a program on coin collecting, and that is in the brochure that we have. We'd also like to thank Teaching with Primary Sources, and we have Joan here. We've had several tours of high schools, Hayward, Pontiac, Stevenson Grade School, and several other schools. U-High have brought students through the exhibit, and Teaching with Primary Sources then did a classroom activity with them after the exhibit, which was very nice to reinforce what they have seen and what they learned while going through the exhibit. So we want to thank Joan and Judy for helping us with that programming. And now while you're here tonight, first we have something new on your seat. We have a yellow sheet, an evaluation. If you would not mind filling that out, we would really appreciate it, and that would help us in getting future exhibits to come to Milner Library. Twin City Tailspinners, this is why you're really here tonight. Oh, I'm sorry, Mike, in the back. Sarah Dick and Jan Johnson, I have to thank them for all their help in putting these programs together. There is a box to drop your sheet in. It is anonymous, but we want to know from you. We bring in lots of authors and speakers to Milner. If you have suggestions, almost every one of our speakers have been suggestions from the community, faculty members, students, so we want to hear who you'd like to come to our community to speak. Now the Twin City Tailspinners. Formed in 2001, the Twin City Tailspinners' purpose is to support and encourage storytelling while fostering an appreciation of this traditional art among the general public. They have several projects ongoing. They have coaching sessions on the third Thursday of each month. And where are those at? Normal Public Library. And they do McLean County history projects and school projects. They also have annual storytelling concerts. In June, they have summer stories. In July and August, they have summer stories in Miller and Forest Parks. In August, they have the annual family concert at Bloomington Public Library. In October, they have ghost stories at the Bloomington Public Library. So we'll have to go to that. And in November, they have a celebration at various sites. And many members of their storytellers have won national and international awards. And our speakers tonight, or our storytellers tonight, I'm just going to list them, and as they each come up, they'll introduce themselves. We have author Avery, David Walsh, then there'll be a short intermission, and we have treats for that. Vivian Carter, and then Mike Lockett. I would like to begin our program tonight with author Avery, who has won state and national story winning prizes.
Good evening, everyone. I am Arthur Avery, as was just mentioned, with the Twin City Tailspinners. and I will be presenting to you the young wife of John Adams. I can remember standing before the masters of knowledge, the most learned men in the colonies. I was there to take my entrance examinations for Harvard University. My path to Harvard had started a long time before. When I was very young, growing up in the town of Braintree, my parents had valued education so highly that they had paid to send me to a name school, which is a school where a mother of some young children will gather other children from the local village and teach them. We learned from the New England Primer such wonderful ideas as, "He who fails to learn his ABC, forever a blockhead will he be." But that couldn't go on forever. Soon I outgrew the knowledge that I could learn there. And so I was sent to the local public school. It was under the supervision of a very stern schoolmaster. I found that I much preferred hunting and fishing in the marshes to learning behind the desk, and would often skip out of school just for a day in the swamps. It was during this time that my father learned of my failing grades and how I would often skip out of school. And so he took me aside and he sat me down and he said, "John, what do you want to do with your life?" I told him I wanted to be a farmer. I never liked all of my schooling that much. Well, it wasn't really the schooling I didn't like. I couldn't take this learning from my schoolmaster. He was not teaching his students. He was simply throwing his knowledge at us as if we were too ignorant to understand it. But after I told my father that I wanted to be a farmer, he said, "Well, that's fine. But if I was going to be a farmer, I should experience a full day's farm work." And so he took me out, and he took me into the marsh the next day to cut thatch for our roof. We spent the entire day stripped of our shirts and our hats and our socks, wading through the mud and the stink and the cold, cutting reeds to thatch our roof. I enjoyed the first few hours. I enjoyed cutting the reeds. I enjoyed swinging the knife. But after I had swung the knife for a few hundred times and helped carry wet reeds, which are much heavier than dry ones, much heavier than you would think they are, I began to get tired. By the end of the day, my feet felt as though they were frozen. My head was hurting from the constant strain of hauling these reeds in and out of the water. My father sat me down at home that night and asked me how I liked farming. Well, I couldn't very well say that I didn't like it. After all, I had said I wanted to be a farmer. I said I liked it quite well. It suited me just fine. But he said, "Well, farming doesn't suit me so well. So tomorrow you will go to school." He was right to argue with my father. But I couldn't learn. It was just too much of a burden to try and take knowledge from this teacher. And one day I went to my father and I explained that I could not learn because the teacher could not teach.